Word, we are live. So yesterday we got the subway train tracks looking sort of like subway train tracks, not like perfect, but I think good enough for this like first release and crack at trying to use Houdini in the pipeline. And so today I want to get into like kind of the core part of the system, which is really like walls, doors, windows, because that stuff usually takes a lot of time to produce. Like it's really time consuming, especially the UVing and noodling around with that stuff. Um, so I'm going to try some different ways of making walls with holes in them so that I can generate a lot of them. So it's like there's a lot of like investment up front to make this switch into Houdini. But I hope that once I get it all set up with the world grid and everything, then it's fairly automated to make variations, which is the hope, because I'm going to try to take the snapping system and the way that I build things and just build a bunch of variations. And it's more like parametric than it is like manually modeling and UVing everything. That's quite slow. And today my stream deck doesn't work. It works some days and it doesn't work other days. And like I swear nothing's changed, but something must have changed. Like it just doesn't work anymore, so I can't push the buttons. So I'm just gonna take a quick stroll through the old marketplace. That's kind of cool looking. Just to like, oh yeah, electrical stuff. I want to see this. Kind of just like inspiration and like reminders of stuff that I might do. Oh yeah, there's like all sorts of stuff. Luckily with architecture, like this phase of things, all I have to do is like walk outside, which I don't do a lot of, to be honest. Or just like look at buildings in general, like on the internet, and there's plenty to work on. But I'm gonna try to. There's like two ways I'm gonna approach drawing doors in Houdini, and it really comes down to the easiest UVs. The easiest UVs. It's pretty cool. Looks like a lot of ZBrush sculpting into probably Substance Painter when they bake the high poly to get these like kind of consistent like orange looking cracks in here. It's gonna be a while before we go into like this level of stuff. Still looking for like really basic architecture stuff like session, interiors, stuff like this I'd like to have eventually. Those are really good, and these are good screenshots too, which is somewhat rare of the assets, because like, you know, if you don't like these correctly, they don't look like anything. But these are nicely done, screenshot wise. Wow, has actual fuses. I'm considering going into this level of work for Cine Tracer. The issue is that, yeah, the issue. Oh wow, the issue is that there's different electrical systems in different countries. So I'll of course do the U.S. to start, but then it's like, you know, UK is much different. I don't really know what's going down in Asia, but I know for sure the electrical system in the UK is very different. Yeah, this is more the window I was looking to make when I made the warehouse windows, and I just realized that it's huge. It really needs to be 400 by 800. But this is the kind of thing, this kind of window, I think I can make it. Well, I know I can make it procedurally. You kind of just define a box in a circle, and then you inset perhaps to get these lines, and then once you just break it down into like curves, it's pretty easy. And then all this design work can be done parametrically. It's like how much do I want in there. I like this too. I haven't done a floor like this where like the outside of it is an I-beam. It's questionable what's holding this platform up if there's no beam right there. But I like this kind of window. I like this, like this is like an air conditioning duct that kind of turns into the wall. Yeah, he's using it again over here. The cabinets, I'm going to make a cabinet generator. I've made all of this stuff in Cinema 4D. Except for the difference back then is like my Cinema 4D stuff, I didn't have to UV it. It was all triplanar. Like super easy. All triplanar materials. This stuff all has to get UV. That's why this is like, it threw me for a long time switching into game dev, because everything has to be like perfectly UV'd, and there's like so many different ways to do it. So this is a bad screenshot of assets that look really good. This is better. but like this super noisy rock texture just makes everything look real shitty, especially that wide shot. But these are really good. I like this level of detail. I like to work all of the stuff up to it. It's not, I don't think it's too difficult either. So much of the detail comes from like these little decals, just like picks up, and then like the normal map has noise in it. I mean, this is pretty cool. I wonder if that's just a straight picture that actually came from geometry. These are great. Yeah. Those are really good. And vents. Yeah, I gotta make vents. Of all the things, it's probably not the hardest. So I'm gonna make a door. Made this one yesterday. Kind of went sideways on the beam. I forget what happened. But main difference with this whole approach is that it's parametric like I used to make in cinema, but it is also UV'd. So that's the big difference. So I'm not going to use that generator, that world generator. It's like too messy for now. I'm going to just like give each object is going to have its own, like for each object, you just type into it its own local world grid and it refers to that. And then maybe if I ever make like a city type generator, each piece you just feed it. You just feed it the parameter of the world grid from another global world grid, but I don't want to keep having to reference out. It was really annoying. Still just learning anyway. So I'm gonna call this wall door, which is also, I'm not gonna make like a generic Boolean. Well, maybe I am. I need to know how to select the inside faces of the Boolean, and I watched a couple people do it. I think I have a couple of ideas, and we'll see if those like actually work when I go and do them myself. New folder. Walls, yeah. This wall's a 1. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a null and just drop out the params that we're gonna control this with. Nope, that's a big nope. I think that was the same context, but maybe a different tab, I don't know. But we want the world grid again, and then we want the door width and the door height. And we're going to also want a bunch of more things come into that at a certain point. I'm going to call this WG width world grid width. And now I'm wondering if there's classes in Houdini, like if I can start to tie these things together. I'm not sure if there is. I think like the SOP or the HDAs is the class, I suppose, but like some way to like have HDAs like inherit from others. I don't know if that can happen. So world grid depth. WG height, world grid height. Yeah, for at this point I'm not building like the whole world building system. It's really just piece by piece. So I'm just gonna give the grids locally. We're gonna want door width. This is really the door opening, not the actual door panel itself, but door height, and that's gonna be enough to get us started with like this kind of Boolean research. Height. So those, having made this several times in other programs, just never UV'd it. So to start, I'm going to just draw a box and a Boolean. They're literally driven, their size is just driven by those parameters. And look at how Houdini Booleans go. The other way is to draw outlines using attribute wrangles, which I really, really like. But I just want to know about Booleans. I think I like the attribute wrangle already. Like it's like simpler to start because you're working in 2 dimensions. But so we're going to have a box that's the wall, and then we're going to have another box that's the door, and then we Boolean these two essentially. And I think you can do it real quick in here. Everything could be done between these two. But then you lose control of the transform, and you can't pass the transforms to like other pieces is the issue. But I'm going to do it the fast way. We're going to do wall and this is door opening. So we'll pop this one out. And this is just going to drive those shapes in a specific way, though. And let's not call this null. We're going to call this door controls. Saving. Okay, so box, as we look at it here, look into the right axes here. Z is forward, so this is our looking at the object from behind. Z forward, negative X right. Good God. That still hurts. So we're looking at size on X. So we'll give this, our normal world grid is 4. Depth in this case is 0.2. Height 4. Door width 1. Door height 2. Yeah, that's an okay start. So again, in meters. Copy param. You could... Oh yeah, you took it? That's fine. Go ahead. Width. This is height. No. Can you go in the playroom with that? Thanks. Can you close the door on the way out? Yeah. Oh, okay. You gonna leave these things?
Okay.
Rather not. I'm streaming already.
Well, I might bring her, I guess, but probably got me.
That's fine.
Shoshina comes down.
Yeah, popsicle already? Yeah. That's okay. I had cake for breakfast.
It was compromise between the cupcake that she wanted.
Looks like a good popsicle. Okay, so we got this going here. I'm gonna move my chat thing back over there. Indeed. Okay, so this thing's sized up, and we're just gonna place it on the ground by grabbing, and we can do a bounding box, or I can just drive it directly from this height again. I think I'm gonna do that. This is height. It's not gonna do it if I paste it, is it? No, it's not. That's some weird code from something. So center. Does it go here now? No. I guess it's not that much. I don't like typing in expressions in this little thing here, but maybe I'll get used to it. Okay, so now it's stuck on the ground, but still centered on depth and on depth, basically. Oh, depth and width is centered, but we're bottom aligned, or min aligned on height. So building it like a real object. And yeah, that's basically it. And we'll see how, I'm interested to see like how the tolerances are with Booleans. I saw someone post something yesterday on Houdini 18 that they were pretty solid. Like if I make this exactly 0.2 and they're on top of each other, like how that aligns. Some certain programs, the Booleans need to have like a little bit of overlap to actually latch on correctly. So this is the same exercise over here. Door width. Copy param into this one. It's 1, so it's 1. Copy parameter into height. And depth is our wall depth. And it might have to be like wall depth times 2 to have the Boolean like actually cut it out without any like weird funny tolerance issues. But and then we'll do the same thing. It's going to be door height times 0.5 for the center. 0.5. So now it's also Y min aligned. And so we have these two objects here. And this is my first Boolean in this program. Now there's a Boolean and then there's, okay, Boolean intersect, shatter, subtract, and union. Like those are different. Like you would, I'm subtracting. I'm doing a Boolean subtract, but you don't, why is there's like a specific subtract? Because we have intersect. Wow, I wonder what the difference is. I'm going to start with this generic one. And what are they calling the inputs? A, they just say geometry A from A and B. And then you can basically tell it the order of A to B and then whatnot. Oh, and there's groups within the A and B. Wow. So we want to do a subtraction, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's That's perfect. That's a perfect situation happening here. And so this is like the nuance of Houdini. I'm sure well, there's probably a lot more, but like is that you can output the seams that got created here. This. And from those seams, you can extrude the door trim. And that's amazing. So that would be one of the next things is door trim width. We would take this, we would extrude on something, one of the extrude line things, and then extrude out, and we'd have the door trim just stuck right on it. Super easy. And if the UV in game down to like nailing trims, it's like, you know, you have that geometry right here. They're all the same but different presets? Oh, okay. That's good to know. Assume seam polygons are flat. Unique points along seams. Correct normals on reversed faces. Collapse tiny seam adjacent edges. Okay, so that's like kind of the thing that all those things are kind of gotchas when you're doing Booleans with polygons. Okay, so let me look at the, first of all, the points that got drawn and then the faces. Where are the faces? Where's the face number? Oh, okay. They're kind of in a weird place, but where's 1 or 0? That's the thing with drawing from points and lines and prims is like you kind of define the order that the faces get drawn in to some degree. You have some control over it. Whereas this, I didn't make that box. And so it's 0 on the side. Okay. And then where's 1? 1's over there. 2. Where's 3? 3's this face. So it's side, this big face, then 4. Oh, 2's at the top. Wow, how did I skip that? 0, 1, 2, 3 for the face, 4 face, 5 and 6 at the bottom, 7, 8, 9. So this is like a primitive itself. Like there should be a name for this. It's like cube door. But I don't know if I like those assignments for numbers. I do like that I could basically do a prim select of the last 3, and that would be these 3 faces that made up that new opening are. There's like a group by range, and then you do like the last 3. You can do that or something. So in this case, no matter how you generated this object, or as I changed the parameters of this, a parametric way of selecting this face, this new opening, is going to be from the seams created from the Boolean. And then when I'm UVing, the last 3 faces created are the opening. In case I needed to do like a select separately from everything else. That's how it currently is. So this is the Boolean way. In Cinema, Booleans are a little sketch. They work, but there's a lot of like you have to check everything. You can't like let the Booleans like go through each other and stuff like that. You probably can't here either. Like if I make this, well, actually no, that's very clean. So like this would have freaked out Cinema if I had pushed this door height above this. This has seemed to have just split it into 2 pieces. So this is already more robust than Cinema 4D's Booleans. Cinema 4D would have like left some like weird crazy face here, and the whole thing would have like flipped out a couple times. So that's just like straight chopping it off. Wow. That's really good. This seems like Booleans is going to be the way to do this. I mean, I've seen like demos where people build like entire cities, and all they are cubes with Booleans cut out of them for like 90% of the architecture. So I guess that makes sense. So that's really clean. So when I cut it all the way through, what are the face numbers then? Like, do they completely redo them? Like 0 is 1 on this side. Where'd 1 go? 1's over there. Okay, so they're kind of crazy. Like that's 0. That's 1. It didn't like refit. Oh, no, that's 7. Never mind. 0, 1. Where's 2 bottom? 2's the face. 3, 4, 5, and 5 is 6 faces. Okay, no, that did it in a really nice way. So this Boolean has a lot of stuff happening in it. This is not just like, I mean, it's completely regenerating the mesh when it cuts it. It's not like it left that face or something like that. So this has a lot happening. and ooh, what? Oh yeah, it can actually handle chopping this through like that. That's crazy. I usually have to be really careful about not letting booleans go across. Like I would never let this go above the height of that. I'd have to like limit that or something. In the user UI that we would put out. Okay, so that's a door opening. So generating the door, that is the door. This is the door. In video games, in ArcViz, you leave space under the door, and then you have to bring it in. And door openings are actually much bigger than the door panel itself, and then the trim covers it. In a video game, it's just like this cutout is the door, and well, it depends. If this wall gets really thick, then that doesn't actually work. I guess I could make that thinner. And in video games, I mean, like a real door, you have to. Well, first of all, there's nothing in between here. You'd be looking in between sheetrock, and you use the trim to like kind of hide that. And then there's like this middle doorstop area, and then you pick what side the door is on, and then you have to figure out what type of hinge you've made. And my old system had all that in it, but I think that's just like way too much for a video game. And I don't think I'm going to even draw that. I don't think I'm going to draw the middle stopper. I'm not going to draw hinges. It's just going to be like, I just need to like take this HDA and be like, okay, today I'm going to make a 400 by 300. This is the door I want. Export. And it just sends it right out. All UV'd to the rules that we like. So the next thing we do want to try to do is generate door trim. And I'm going to try to do that from... I mean, I have a lot of information to ask for. I mean, I could just ask for these edges, but technically, if I wanted to make this a window, if I ask for the seams, this would also work from that. But the windows have a lot more. Like inner nuance. Like I think I'm going to build those as separate objects. Like the windows have like 50 parameters when you're done with them, especially if you start doing like curves on the corners and all that stuff parametrically. Okay, so let me check out if I can grab these edges. So I'm going to take a new param of... It's going to be door trim width. Door trim width. Door trim. Okay, so let me see. So I don't have any groups yet. I was watching that fan modeling tutorial, and they had to like blast all the groups away for this to work. But I don't think I have to. So we have primitive groups. Oh wow, you have the groups of the faces. A inside B, A outside B. Wow. But the seams are what I'm interested in. So AA seams. BB seams, AB seams. I feel like it's AB seams is what these are, maybe. So how do I view that? I guess I'll just drop like a bevel on. How do I get ABC? Oh, that became a group, right? So basically now I could do something like, is there a way to like select a group of seams or something like that? But I'll just poly bevel them and see what happens. So I'll pass this group AB seams like that, and bevels again. Yeah, we're gonna save. Okay, cool. But some. Well, whatever. It grabbed the right seam. The seam I'm looking for are on the other side too, right? Yeah, both sides. So the AB seams of that Boolean is this. So there's a couple different ways. I'm going to drop this back to 0 and have it not bevel those. How do you clear? Just delete this. So with AB seams, we have... What is the selection group? What type of group is that? Like, what's the geometry? AB seams, is that... Oh, it's edge. It's edges. Okay. So those are edges. So I want to extrude this edge this way, and this one this way. I feel like there probably aren't normals that are gonna... Those normals probably don't exist for that behavior, but Let me drop this group out of here and see what we get for extruding. Is it a poly extrude or is it an edge extrude? Is that a different thing? I don't think so, right? Poly extrude is edge extrude. Like if I just write, this is that, okay, extrude. It's just poly extrude. So if I tell it to extrude AB seams, extrusion mode, primitive edge normal, that seems like what you would want. And it's going in. So what about out? Interesting. I know, antivirus, I know. So if we go in, there's a whole bunch of weirdness going on. Something, okay, so that's primitive edge normal. Point normal. Ooh, point normal's closer. Not really. So I could go and set the point normals. I could set the, I don't know what an edge normal is. Primitive edge normal. Can you even view edge normals? This is like a primitive normal. This is close though. I'm probably going to have to go mess with the normals to make those extrude out like a door frame. But having this geometry selected is pretty nice. The other way is just to straight draw it based on, I mean, I know the door width and I know the door height, so I can just draw it based on that. I'll be like, get this position, make it this wide, or move it there. But it is kind of cool to do it all as one piece. But that being said, I don't actually want the door frame to be the same geometry of the object. But I just thought it was cool that you could select edges. But definitely some management of the normals has to be done. Extrusion, transform extruded front. I don't know what that means. That's the back. Preserve groups, limit insetting, add vertex normals. That doesn't help. So those are our two ways of handling this situation. Connected components. Yeah, we want them connected. So I can do it from the point normal, pre-compute, existing attribute. Pre-compute, existing attribute. Attribute N. I don't see it. I still have to go change them. Inset. What's inset? Was I supposed to do inset instead? I saw. Let me see something. Inset still requires. No, inset doesn't do anything. Maybe that's because it's on point normal. Inset. Inset's what you would do to like a polygon face. We're doing like edges, twist, and divisions. Okay. Well, we do have those AB seams, but that's not how we're gonna do it. But I'm feeling that like this is pretty robust to go Booleans for this system. I'm gonna not cut it in half because it makes UVing it harder. And this is square, so this is gonna be like a false sense of security because it's like it UVs so perfectly because it's 1 by 1. But still, so yeah, two tasks are UV it, generate the door trim. The door itself is like whatever. So the way I used to do this is I would just make a box for each trim. Just put a trim, use these 3 numbers, and well, all of these put together, you can calculate a box. How big is it? Where does it go? How big is it? Where does it go? And then mirror it back over there. That's probably the way. It does seem a little bit nicer to do it off of this edge, but I don't have a great approach other than like selecting these 1 by 1 and telling it just fixing the normal 1 by 1, the edge normal. Like I'd be like, this edge normal is 1 0 0. This is 0 1 0. -1 0 0 or something like that for this edge, and it's the reverse for that. And so like I have this like attribute SOP that's like, it's not really procedural at that point. I'm just kind of like, I'm heavily reliant on that selection then. Though it is kind of the inverse of the normal of this face already. This edge is the inverse of that normal. That doesn't, I don't really know a way of selecting that so well. Like You would think that the normal from 10 to 9, it could be anything. Hard to say. There's no saying it would be that one. Because they were all over. So I'm going to just draw them as boxes. Which is, we're going to have an extra face on the back when I UV this. I could blast them, I suppose. And then how do I want to draw the geometry? I'm going to picture frame it, or am I going to like, I forget what they're called. It's either 3 boxes. Really, it's just 1 box mirrored and then a top one and then that whole thing mirrored. That's pretty chill. That's pretty easy. And I could blast the back face away. That's a grid where you extrude it, but you don't draw the back. That's how we'll do it. We'll use grids. I never used grids. I don't. In cinema, there wasn't really a. I mean, I guess there was a plane object, but it wasn't like this one. So we will draw. I'm centered still, so I'm gonna draw a grid here that's the same height. It's the door height, and then the width is the door trim width. We extrude out some amount, which I'll need to parameterize as well. Mirror it across both ways, and then draw the top cap and mirror that whole thing. That's pretty easy. That should be fine. So start with a grid. What's up, John? Can't you just drop down a normal SOP and have Houdini automatically calculate those primitive normals? Will it do that? I mean, these normals are fine. It's the edge normals that I don't even know what to expect for them, and I don't even know how to see them. Actually, I could look at the point normals. Where did those go? Are these point normals? Yeah, so like, what am I even looking at? I don't even know. Like those point normals are pointing that way. It looks like they have 2 normals on them. Like, I don't really understand them. There probably is, but at the same time, I don't want them actually to be the same piece of geometry, because then UVing it becomes kind of a pain in the ass. I'm actually going to put my chat back over there. Pop. Put this there. So I'm going to draw it as a grid to start. Whoa. So turn off all this stuff. So we want to go into this plane. And we're going to just do 1. I think it has to be 2. 2 and 2. Indeed. Now, which way is width in this case? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. So, we care about height. So this one. I mean, I wanted to kind of use the... I wanted to use that, like, that we can select it, but I think I was kind of forcing it. There's going to be a case where I want that, but it's a little tricky to go clean up those normals in a way that's as straightforward as this. I mean, I could definitely go do it. You know, they're all on axis vector, like, you know, normal vectors, but... so we're going to make the trim width 10 centimeters, which is 0.1. So we'll take this one. Copy parameter. Yeah, that one. Put it here. And we will do... So I'm hard coding into this, the alignments, but... This is how I always build. I never build anything like spacey, like where it's like Y-centered. I don't like that. Because then you have negative numbers. So center, it's the same thing. It's this one here. Paste relative reference times 0.5. I guess it is pretty nice to type that attribute in there. I'm still like getting used to that. So there be a trim, and I suppose we'll do the extrude from here. I don't know what this bounding box is for this yet. There's like, oh, never mind. That's a spline curve. Some of these things have like bounding boxes, and I haven't like tried them out, like what they do. So this is gonna extrude positive holler. That's pretty easy. And then if I don't draw the back, it doesn't draw the back. So that's all gamified already. We're not drawing faces we don't need. Taking up UV room. So that is very elegant. That's very nice. a grid with a poly extrude with the back off. I mean, that's beautiful. Doesn't work if I want to like blow this up or something, where you'd want like an enclosed mesh to do like the Voronoi fracturing and stuff like that. But it'll work for this one. I could always just turn the back. I could just turn it on if I want to like simulate this piece of wood basically later. So I need a parameter for the depth of the trim. Door trim depth. Gotta hit enter. Door trim depth. And in my old program, I used to give, like, I would build these like procedural objects, and I would give this level of detail to the user, and we had like a little, you know, mini Revit situation going on with that. I think within the video game context, it's like a little bit too much, but we'll see. As I'm basically building a bridge back into the Unreal Engine editor, and there's a thought to kind of expose the HDAs, because I think there's a free Houdini engine tier, and even if there isn't Houdini engine, it's Houdini indie. If you're like, you know, using it for like ArcViz or something like that, is pretty affordable. It's like, I think it's like $200 or something. Which for the user that would be, you know, coming back into Unreal Engine for pre-visualizing like a film or something, that should be fine. So the depth of the trim, what did I just extrude it? 0.03. So we're kind of like in the, can't ever be 0. I'm not writing the range anyway here, but I guess I'll just say 0.02 for now. So we're going to take this depth trim, and that's the distance that we're extruding this grid. Paste this one. There we go. So this is being driven here now. Whoa, it's gigantic. And we gotta range these so that the sliders aren't, you're not dealing with like tiny little things like that. What's up, Andres? How's it going, man? Do you do Thanksgiving? I wouldn't assume that happens in Sweden. I'm making doors. I will say, of the very boring like environment art that I do, the little demo videos I do make them somewhat appealing. It's like, I made train tracks. Wow, this is exciting. But drop a little backlight and haze on it, and it's not so bad. So that's the shape. We could also UV it at this point. That's what I haven't come to terms with still, is like the trims. Like, all this stuff is going to look super hard edge because I don't have like normal trims on it. I don't know. I think about it every time I'm not here. I'm thinking about like, how am I gonna put trim sheets back into this situation, or is it not trims anymore? Like, we just don't do that for such small pieces. Like bigger, you know, 10 centimeters. That's not, yeah, 10 centimeters, 20, 40, 6. You know, like those pieces are much easier to trim up. But if you don't put normal, if you don't smooth this and have a normal on it, it doesn't look good, and it won't look good for lighting demos because this won't pick up a highlight, and the illusion just falls apart faster and faster. And we need everything working for us to make the lighting look consistent or look realistic. And if this never picks up a specular highlight, then it's across my entire environment. It'll look bad, and it would be bad. So I still need to figure that out. Drawing the quads and UVing it, I know that's going to work, but I have to figure out a way of getting the high poly stuff in there. I could bevel this here and keep 2 branches, and then we put them both out to painter, which is like, again, losing a lot of proceduralism. Like, okay, let's make 5 of these. It's like, great. So I have 10 FBXs that I have to bring into painter and paint manually. That sucks. I want this to be like 1 click, and I have 10 versions, and I don't want to have to do too many. So we're center aligned, so we have to position this, and we could do a copy to points. It seems like over engineering it, or we just do. Actually, that sounds pretty good. Copy to points. Copy points is definitely the way in case we want like two doors next to each other with one in the middle. So this is definitely it. It's definitely like line to copy to points is gonna be like big part of my life, I think. I'm gonna just drop it in there. That's the geometry. That's the line. And so this line gets parameterized. So we went up. I mean, that's like the main thing for Houdini, I feel like, for me, is copy to points, and then like all your placement geometry is just, or all your placement logic is just manipulating a line that has 2 points on it. It's like really kind of nice and easy. So the origin goes this way, and then we center it on itself. So we could say that it's the length times negative 0.5 or something like that, or just times 0.5. Nope, negative. It was negative. So that centers it. And then length is driven by, ooh, it's a little bit funny. Let me template this door. It is the door width plus the door trim width, because it's half of it times 2. That's not so bad, I guess. So this width here is driven by door width. I'm gonna need to bust into the Alt-E here. Plus the same thing. This is why I want to just stick all the parameters on one. I don't like fishing up and out of the in and out of the networks yesterday. That was just a waste of time for prototyping. If I'm gonna like separate it out more later, I still can. Door trim width. I think that's it. Yeah, just door trim. That one. There it is. Perfectly placed trim. Well, on one axis. I like it. Some people do it. That makes... Oh, yeah. People that are like US expats. That makes sense. Celebrated a couple years ago in Washington. Nice. Yeah, it's fun. I had... I like that extrude from grid because it leaves the pivot back at 0. It's not centered on itself. I had Thanksgiving part 2 yesterday. I went to Boston Market for dinner. Didn't get enough. Okay, so then we're going to just... We did copy the points. I'm going to leave the line where it is because that's kind of pure, and we'll just do a transform. No need to bake into the... Like, move the line itself. I don't think that's a... Very nice. And so we're going to move this thing up. Or back on Z. Half the wall depth. World grid depth. Now this is not correct. This is not world grid depth. That's not the name of this. That's wall depth. That's... Well, I'm gonna still keep prototyping, but this is not right. This has to be its own parameter. But we're transforming on Z. You can't just paste it. You gotta do that. Okay, that didn't work. This here times -1 times -0.5 rather. There we go. Okay. So now those two little boards are placed there. And this gives more flexibility anyway. Like if I want to have like this be like really ornate or something, then instead of it being a grid that gets extruded, we do a... Well, actually, I'm extruding it the wrong way. I took a grid and extruded it out. What we should probably do is take a profile and extrude it up. Because then I can swap out this profile if I want to give it, like, Corinthian, like, like, you know, architectural detail. We just change this curve. And then it extrudes up the right amounts. Though that might be something different anyway, and I'm not anticipating getting into that. I want very like square, like basic trimmed. Like the trim detail would just be a normal map, and otherwise they'll be metal, like for like this subway one I'm making. What kind of webcam? Oh, she's gonna stream. What is she gonna stream? It's a Logitech Brio, so it's like the most expensive Logitech one. It's 4K. It's okay. It's decent in low light. I have right next to it a Canon 60 Mark II, but you can't get clean video out of it because it's like their not top tier version, which sucks. So I'd have to buy like an EOS R. I really do want to stream from a webcam. I mean a proper DSLR, but I don't want to spend like $5,000 on it just to have a slightly nicer. I mean I do, but I don't. So the Brio, it works as long as you have enough light, which I typically do, like with the Windows. Oh, gaming? Nice, nice. Twitch or YouTube? Probably Twitch, right? So there's that. So let's do. I should start to like name these things probably. This is going to be pretty chill today. But so it should already be stuck to it if I start changing the height, right? So that's good. So let's do the top trim. Again, we're not going to build ornateness into it. I'm still just going to do it with a grid and have it be kind of basic. But I think in the next like month or two, once I bang out a couple more of these environments, like this update could come out like in like a day, in like 2 days. Do this. I'm gonna make like a lot of these, and then we'll get through like the basic like square ones, and then it's like okay, let's make like a. Even the New York City subway is kind of a cool case study. If you started to make like lion head buttresses on the end of everything, like just procedurally generate a lion head and then stick it on everything. And we kind of have the base formula already written. So we have this grid. Technically, I should have left it as this plane and then extruded up, and I'm still not going to do it that way. Still going to do it this way. But this is kind of a hard limit of, you know, how much. I can't make it like an extrusion. I can't sweep a curve if I'm doing it like this. So this one is door width plus door trim width times 2. This one goes first. So copy. Yoinks. Twitch, yeah. Twitch is depends what you want. If you want to stream games and make money, that's probably the place. What would you recommend someone do before getting into Unreal Engine? Just get right into Unreal Engine. There's not much before it. You just do it. Think of something for a little bit that you're willing to work months to years for to achieve, and then go do it. You know, you need like your like, can I financially survive doing that? You know, tunnel visioning into that, and like, what am I gonna do with it at the end? You know, and that has to be like, I mean, that's like your guiding light to get through it. It's door trim with this one times 2. I don't trust order of operations. Don't know it. There we go. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. What did I just do? That's not the right size. Now, am I sizing it? What happens with this? It's the door width plus the door trim width times 2. But that didn't work. And this is like. Is it taking door trim width as? So this should be 1.2. And I don't see it using the plus, so maybe I screwed something up with this whole thing. Let me pull these things out of here. Oh, I see. I spelled door. Oh, I wrote door trim width. That'll do it. There we go. Nice. I don't need the parentheses. It's doing work today. So the height is door trim width again. So this one, that's not how you do it. Copy. L paste. Hooray. So I guess I'll just give it an align as well. We'll just push it up on it. Give it its bottom align, then it makes it easier to place it somewhat. Yeah. So I'm going to take its trim height and move it up half of that amount. So the same exact parameter here. Wish I could just paste it. I gotta go find it here. Times 0.5 centered. And then we extrude and move it up. We'll do the extrude. There's no copy to points on this one. There's just one. So we're gonna do an extrude. And that extrude is of the depth for this. Copy parameter of distance. Paste relative this thing. Looks good. Same transform. Transform has two things going on. Nope. That one. Oh, wow. Oh, what the... Jesus. Yep. Already has that param hooked up. And then it's going to move up door height. Like this. On translate. Door height. Someone got to UV these. So we end in two transforms. We don't have UVs or normals probably on either of these, but we'll still merge them together. Could do that at this step. And there it is, a procedural door trim. But like as basic as you could ever make it. We could also have done picture corner frames, but I like these better. I think these look better too. In game. Sure, SM7B. Oh yeah, that is it. That's it. That's really expensive. If I wouldn't start with it, I'd get like a Blue Yeti. Get a Blue Yeti, and this is a blue boom. The problem with the Yeti is that you need an isolation mount for it, which I have, I think, 2 or 3 of. I have like all that stuff. So then the mic is like huge. It's like this huge isolation mount around it, whereas the Shure doesn't need a pop screen. Is smaller. It looks good, and you could use it forever. Like a better VO mic than this is gonna cost like 2,000, 3,000 from like Neumann or something like that, or Newman. So it's not like the biggest investment, but like if you're going to be doing like a lot of VO stuff, you just kind of get right into it. That being said, it took me years before I dropped the I think it's this mic's not expensive. It's all the support stuff for it, the audio interfaces and the preamps. You should probably use like a proper mixer for it. It's XLR, so things are just a little bit more expensive to deal with XLR than USB. But I talk into it for like 8 hours every day and produce a lot of audio content. And it bugs me if I'm ever on someone else's podcast or my own, if my audio is worse than theirs. I never like that. Okay, so we made this. Do I UV now? Now is the time to UV before we mirror it, and probably also generate normals. And I mean, these are just cubes. There's a couple faces that are not needed, but I'll let them roll. So I could UV this merge. That seems like a okay place. I think I'm gonna UV the merge, and then do the normals. So we'll quick shade this thing. That one. So we have like nothing. And then we'll do labs UV auto. There it is. I don't really need it to be seamed. It's kind of nice if we go with like seamless textures then. So this is probably fine. It just needs to be axis aligned. It's pretty good. That's a really good UV unwrap. It's like perfect. It's like I used to do all this by hand, and it's one node now. That is good. This makes my life a lot easier. And then yeah, I'm not so sure we actually even have normals on this. So now we do normals. And then now that that's UV'd nicely, like if we like this basically is almost trimmed out. If I stack those and I make a master sheet of like where it should go, like we're almost on trim sheets except for the edges. Like that part wouldn't work, but like the main picture side edge that you see, I could line that thing up right on like a trim edge. It would work. So we're close on this. And then the mirror node's pretty nice. We just gotta tell it what axis. That's not the right one. So direction is on Z. Boom. Now, however, oh no, it's in the offset is being already driven, so that's already it. I'll call those UVs good enough for now too. They're great. They're like perfect. So now it's like, you know what? Let's do a door that's this tall and this wide, right? So the hole's already being cut out. This box is the collision. That's the UCX or whatever we call it. Geo collision. You just name it correctly. So I already, once I UV this piece already saves me. I could make 5 of these. Nothing. Like in the editor. I could make them in Unreal Engine. Now, is this stretched? Now I'm looking at this. No, I guess those are okay. But just this piece alone saves me so much work by having the trims on them already. I can just parametrically be like, let's make bigger trims. Let's make them like sticking out a lot. You know, like that could be something. That could be like some sort of weird gate. And you know, we're not going to land on trims, anything cool for these, but if we just put like, you know, some sort of tiling texture on that, it would look like reasonable. So I'm going to go back to 1, 2, 0.1, and then 0.02. All right, so this is like residentially kind of trims. So I'm going to then... yes, let's UV the big wall. And then this HDA is, I could like, this is like worth money. Like, it's not hard to make, but it's kind of like, it's like Unreal Engine's been doing a lot of like new stuff with like modeling in engine to like replace their BSP engine. It's like a BSP except it's going to be UV'd much nicer and has trim, you know. Like the amount of game assets in professional video games that are basically this piece minus the sides probably there's a lot. So this is like a very commonly used piece and is procedural in the engine part. The mic is this mic is 500. I thought it was less. I thought it was like 300. I've UV'd 3 times in Cinema. Oh god, Cinema 4D is the worst UV program. It is the worst because like everything is like, you know, I think everything there is. I think there's like the 6-face projection. I forget what they call it, or it's triplanar. And like you don't UV any of that stuff. Well, maybe some of it, but most of that, like, you know, like mushy MoGraphy stuff is like you don't have to UV it. It's all just like kind of like procedural shaders over triplanar, and you don't have to do it. I mean, I built the whole ecosystem without ever UVing something once. Games is what's forced me into this. It's like way more technical, but you have a lot more control over it. Like poly count, you have to have control over poly count, etc. So I need to UV this. Speaking of the devil, and I liked the blasting way, and the way that I've rigged this, it will always be these face counts will always be valid. Because I'm going to go select faces manually. Unless you do this. Or 0. So I will stop that. I don't know if you can set range based on this. Like if I change this height, it needs to change the range of this to be like this minus 0.1 or something like that. Like, so it hard limits it. Because if I push this through here, then my face selections become invalid. And it breaks in Unreal, and I'd have no way of fixing it. You know, or don't make the door bigger than the wall. That's, you know, but it would still be a nice way. It'd be nice to like force that to be possible. So I could either just select this face. That's really the easiest way. I just select this face, do the unwrap. And the edges really don't matter, but I am pretty picky about how I want those to be unwrapped, stacked on top of each other, and same with these. Well, that's what this exercise is about anyway. So a quick shade. Let's see what we got already. Nothing. We've got absolute nothing. So I can do it by face number with a group range select, or I could do, I don't think I need this for now. or I can just select them and just make sure, and it breaks if you. And I'm not booleaning it, so it's not gonna. I'm not going to bevel it, so it shouldn't crash. Take those two faces. I'm going to take these two faces and blast them, and kind of do what I did yesterday for whatever I was making yesterday. I don't remember. So we'll do a blast. And do you make two of them? I think you make like another one after. So let's do it from primitives. This one. This one. So we're blasting those. Oh, I didn't hit enter. I was like, huh? What's this doing? Nothing. There we go. So there's the... Those are an easy UV. And then you have essentially the inversion of this as another blast node here. Then that's a separate UV. Now that's pretty easy, but I have a way I want to do it. So I got to see if I can figure that out. I could then, oh, I remember this. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm going to end up like blasting into that twice, which I will actually do today. So I'm going to try to UV. I'm going to try to UV this procedurally the way that I do it by hand in Blender. Okay. So we have this one, these two faces, and one of the UVs worked out perfectly. I don't remember which one it was. It was probably like, I think it was the UV project was pretty good, I think. I feel like that was probably it. Oh yeah. Done. We're done. Except for it's flipped, which I would like this to be legible, right? Like it's backwards. I don't really know how to fix that. Like it projected it from here. Makes me think I have to blast it again because I want to project this one from here and this one from here, but it projected both of them straight through there, which makes sense. Like I'm probably going to put decals on these eventually, so like this would be backwards. The decal would, like if I wrote a sign that said something, it would be backwards, and that's not good. So I don't know if there's any other way to do this other than blasting it again and having two UV projects, which is, this is going to end up being a UV project per face, which is not great. But that's the only way I can think of doing it. Can you select by normal direction and create a group? Yeah, probably. But every face is going to have a different normal direction, except for the bottom ones, I guess. Like, oh, I see what you're, like, this would be shared. Like, these would have the same, and then the bottom ones would all have the same. So try to select it by a normal range. Oh, to keep it procedural? I would try it. And not have to like actually hand select everything. Okay, well I'll start messing with that a little bit. So let's look at this blast. So currently it's 3 and 4, so we'll just kill this. So we have to create a group. I don't think it does. This doesn't give you that kind of selection here. So it's let's see what we got for group in here. I think we got group range is the one. Yeah, and group expression, that you would just like write it out. You just write the same thing that this is gonna do by clicky clicks. So primitives, that's the merge start range. This is like selecting the numbers. I don't see connectivity. I think I could write it as an @sop or whatever, an @wrangle. It would be like, I don't know how you select. Oh, you like make a group. I don't know how you do this in Vex yet, but like you make a group, you for each through all the primitives, and you basically ask for the normal, and if the normal is this, then you add it to the group, which I also don't know how to do in Vex. This one is currently just gonna do numbers though. It doesn't have like a normal. There's nothing built in right now to be like We got points. I don't have anything that does anything. I don't have anything that's like filtered by normal at the moment. Well, we're gonna blast it either way, but it's the selection. If we did it by normal, it would be. I have to write it. I don't think there's like a group by normal. I'd have to write it myself, which it was like the group. Maybe group itself has something on it. I'm not sure. Oh, keep. No, it's keep normals. No, this doesn't. I'd have to write it. I think I'm gonna look at that group. That other group one. I don't. This tab. Group copy create. Group expression. I think it's probably this, and I have to write it. Group by attribute. Oh, so there's some new ones. Group by attribute. It's an attribute though. Right, so let's see. I mean it's like at n group prefix, but wouldn't it be like attribute name and then value? Like you're grouping by like what attribute and what value, and then there's like a range within values. Like I'm not sure what this does exactly. Let me look at group by group expression. This is probably it. Yeah, right. So it's basically we're grouping primitives. Group vexpression1. What do I put it in here or something? And it would be like, oh, you would write it what here? I would write into this vex expression like we're gonna for each through all of these we would get the normal and add it if it's a certain amount, and then expose that certain amount and have like 6 of these. That's still pretty heavy too, unless I made like a really special node that then had like 6 outputs or something. So it's kind of like it's kind of it's somewhat procedural, I guess. Keep by normal. Yeah, it is a good way. It will be a good way. I don't see it currently being faster or like more elegant though. But it would be a good way of selecting it. If there was a node for it already, I don't want to write it though at the moment. But that would be a cool way to go about it. So how come this has its faces back or something? Did I not do this? Oh, I killed. Oh, I see. I gotta go reselect these. I'm gonna just select them, but that would be a good way if I could either commit to writing it or there is a node that does it already. I didn't see it though. There we go. Okay, so there's the blast. But yeah, I mean, let's just see what this UV project gives me. There's like a quad project. There's like a 6-axis project too, so I'll look at that. I think that's the one I was actually using. Because this is by orthographic polar. There's a. So this isn't the one I want for that one. There's another UV for this. UV project UV unwrap. Oh, it was unwrap. This one was good. Like it had a quad. Yeah, it has a 6-face one. Okay, so here's where it matters. Scale is uniform. Yep. Layout in strips. Nope. Spacing. I'm not going to substance range. This is kind of it. We then want a UV. Oh, hold on. This is it, right? So then we want to do. Well, it's split them. It's not. Yeah, we do kind of want to separate them. Like this will work, but it's not the best. But if we do a pack on top of these, like a UV layout might have something for me, but I think stack is the move. Now, what is unitize? I haven't used it myself. I saw a couple people using it, but let me check out what unitize is gonna do. Ooh, that's not good at all. What is this? What is that doing? What is this? Okay. It's definitely stack is what I was thinking about. That's not it either though, but so how many faces is 1, 2, 3, they're lined up, and then 1, 2, those are those, and then 1, 2, that one. Well, we're like missing one. It's kind of weird. But combined similar thresholds, split stacked. Oh, that's it. That's a stack. That puts them right on top of each other. That's pretty good. That's completely fine. That would be acceptable. This would be okay to do it this way. Technically, I would want like those two sides to be upright, that one to be the other way. But these aren't really like picture side faces. You see them like in camera, it's very well. You do kind of see this face every once in a while. The problem is that like if this is bricks and then this is bricks, that they're going the wrong direction. So I kind of need to like these two are different than this top one. Like I kind of need to enforce that, and then these three are different than those two. So it does become blasting, and then doing this UV unwrapping, just for pure selection's sake. Which is why I didn't do it yesterday. So I'll do it today though. So this blast is the edges, but the subgroup of this is these two and these two. And selecting by normal would be cool, would be a good way of doing it. But I'm going to then sub-blast for now. And given that this asset, this door, will always have this shape, just different cutouts in between it, this selection will work, but it's not like the most procedural way of doing it. Like this wouldn't work for a window. Or if you cut it off the top. So I'm gonna blast again, which is like kind of like if you do two blasts, it's like splitting it in I'm kind of using it as a selection mask, but you're selecting it, then you can do operations to them separately and then remerge them at the end. It's pretty awesome. So we're gonna do prims again, and I'm gonna do basically what the normal selection would have done in these ones. So we have that one, and this tree splits off, and so we have another select essentially, and we have this one over here, which is the inverse of that one. So delete non-selected, or what's this one? Yeah, I mean, whatever you want. Like, those are the ones facing up and down, and these are the ones facing that way. Whatever axis this is. X. Those are facing X, and the other ones are facing Z. Positive and negative. So if I unwrap these, that is the way I'd want to do it. So that when you look at them from... Well, I might flip them, but when you're looking at them from here, like my bricks will be going this way, and then from the top, the bricks are going this way. So that's how I want that one to be already. Okay, this. So this one, I'm pretty happy with that. And it stuck those two on top of each other. It's not exactly it, but that's pretty close. I don't even need to stack these. I guess technically I didn't need to stack these either. What happens if I... Oh, I don't really need to stack this. I don't need to stack. So this UV unwrap is pretty money. Like, this is a pretty good one. And we're quick shading at the top. So then I can triple merge all these back together. And probably this could have just been an unwrap as well. Not the UV project, but... Let's see what we get here. So we're going to just merge these back together. I should have just done this yesterday. It's not like it was just one other branch. It wasn't that much more. But I was like mentally tapped out of doing anything further. That's perfect. Perfect textile density, I think. I think the textile density is fine because we always have one edge that goes all the way across. This does not work if this becomes non-square. I don't think it'll work. I would have to then, I just need to check. I would need to just tell it which, U or V, which one are we prioritizing when it comes to normalizing it. But for square walls, which is everything I'm doing at the moment, that's a perfect unwrap. And so then, this being a wall door, we're going to merge this back into it. These don't have the same texel density necessarily, but that doesn't really matter because they're going to pull from different textures. This is our Substance Designer 4x4 texture. This is going to be something else. Like the door trim is like undecided how that's going to get textured. But you could also put this in there. They just would have different texel densities. Normals, huh? So, the last thing before I could push this to the engine is material assignment and collision, which this is the collision, which is nice, minus that. We could also draw, what you would do in reality is that you wouldn't see the wall here. There'd be a big hole in like sheetrock and stuff if you saw in here. We could cap this. We could put like just a piece that covers that and this into the trim, but then it starts to be a real door, not a video game door, if we start going into that kind of detailing. So I'm not sure yet. I mean, considering that I'm going Houdini now, we could put in everything. I'll be like, put in all the hinges. How many are there? What's the radius of the hinge? How offset is the door from the hinge? Like everything, like a real door. But then your door costs quite a bit at runtime. You just have like all this geometry for like these tiny little details that no one ever sees. So it's kind of like the difference between like ArcViz. Like the people who use Unreal Engine for ArcViz, they're all using sequencers, so the runtime performance of it is not really not that big a deal. You just have have everything there, and you can ray trace it and give it like 10 seconds of frame and that sort of stuff. But like I have to worry about runtime performance on like a MacBook Pro. So what's up with you? So everyone has normals now, though. You have a normal. You've got normals or UVs. What's the mismatch with this merge? It's not happy. Come back. Curvature and island number. Curvature? You really care about curvature? It's weird. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, so let's make the collision, and then I'll go test this in engine. I like these are the same level blast there, and then it branches out. It's pretty. This is a pretty small graph too. It's not too big yet. Yeah. So the collision, and you have to merge the collision too. Oh. What I can do is I can call. Where is it? I can just group this mesh and call it GeoCollision rendered, and then it'll show up and be the collision. I need to go look that up though, how you say that. Houdini UE4. I should bookmark this page. I can always just type it though. It is rendered GeoCollision simple, is how you group it, and then the visible mesh that is the visible static mesh is also the simple collision. So group. Now you don't change the node, you change the group name here. I'm gonna say wall door, and I'm gonna say 00 wall door. I think that's gonna make this one visible, like because I want to see it, but it's also the collision, which is what I also want. So that's pretty nice. The reordering, these merges, they got to be in the right order. I can't look at this with that. And then material assignments. So this one is already a group. This needs to be a group for me to do that. So I got to group this one. So group. I like this workflow a lot, man. It's just like everything's so like controlled, and like it explains itself like what you're doing. Like all this stuff is like not is like destructive stuff you're doing in other programs, or it's hidden away, like like you do like vertex groups and stuff like that. Here the group is like right there, like you always see it. I feel like it's calmer. So I need to name this. We're gonna call this one. Doesn't matter really. I'm just gonna call it like door trim group. I don't need to write group in it, but I did. It auto selects itself by group. Like you would prefix or suffix if you were doing like a dependency graph sort and you had to sort by name or something like that, where you had everything, and your only way of getting it was by the fact that you wrote group in it. So materials, let's see if I remember how to do this again. So this is a little bit of a setup. So we're gonna have a material network. In this material network, I make a new material. That didn't work. Material builder. I think that's it. I think that's how we do it. You make them like that, and it's just one. What am I doing? No, I need two. So can I double click this? I don't want it. I don't want this. Nah, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it this way. Where'd you go? MatNet. Okay, cool. Can I make you a principled shader somehow? Actually, I really don't care. It just has to be any shader. I don't want the data to come across. I just want it to be a different material. You're like some tiger shader. I don't want the tiger shader. I want the principled shader. Basic white. What the fuck? Like, I wish I could just drag that in there. You can't. Okay, cool. I swear that didn't work last time, but now it does. There it goes. So screw this other way. This shit. I don't want this. I don't want to go in there. I'm not coding the shader. So let's call this one the door matnet. And I want to stay up here. I don't want to get into node view. Oh, damn it, as I go into node view. Here. So how do I rename this? It's just called principal shader. That's okay, so we're going to call this one wall shader. Trim shader. And I guess I'll give it a different color. So red, green. The ugliest possible, but those are just like RGB values basically. Yeah, none of that shit. And then we do a material node. Look at the Unreal material. What's that? Oh, dip. What's that do? I clicked the wrong one. What's this do? Someone said you can use like the actual Unreal Engine material in this, and wow, so you give it the path to your project. I'm not ready for that. I'm still just putting out FBXs. I don't want this to know about my actual. Someday I'll link it to the actual material. I'm not gonna do that right now. Okay, so we're gonna do group. Yeah, that one is material. Wall shader. There we go. Save, and then we make another material, and that one is group. No, dude. That one. Oh, go leave this view. How do I get out of this view? No. This one is trim shader. There we go. So in theory, I could bring this in as an HDA. This will stay seamlessly tiling. The edges are but they're the right orientation anyway. This trim is UV'd reasonably well to just go on to like another seamless tiling texture. Would be fine. It's actually pretty much perfectly box unwrapped, so it would be more than fine. But at runtime, we can do not runtime. In the editor, I could be like, okay, so now we want a door that's like this, and the whole thing's UV'd already. It's already UV'd. The collision's already there. Like everything is like taken care of. Material elements are already broken out. And wouldn't you know, I need a door that is this for a gate door, but then I would need a procedural gate, which I'll make as well. But all the UVs are handled, material like all the normal FBX stuff that you do, it's just all built into it procedurally. Just good to go. I'm gonna give this thing an out node. Right. And while you could do this by hand for sure in Blender, and I've done it a lot in Maya, it sucks. It's not fun. It's I when I was doing, I was like, this is something that should be like automatable, like, because I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Like, I'm not ZBrush painting, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like making cubes that are of a parameter, doing the FBX workflow, and like this and I didn't UV it by hand, you know, like all this stuff is just like, you know, basic. So then I could go make like 10 of these, and then they should all work probably. I hope. Since the group no create node had a keep by normal. Oh, there was one? Oh, you like the Houdini? Yeah, because you use Cinema, right? So Cinema, like Houdini is like what most Cinema 4D users like evolve to if they need that, if they need like more control. Like you can do a ton with Cinema. But I think when people are like, oh, I want to put like, you know, a million trees and have it be like procedurally generated onto a terrain and then run water through it, and they go that kind of direction, it's like this is the way. But I mean, you can still do like ridiculous stuff in Cinema. So there's the output. I could bring it in as an HDA for the moment. I guess I'll do that. I'll do that for now. And then I'm going to actually generate one of the subway walls from it. So I could basically keep taking like this door now. It's the same thing for a window. There's just a bottom. The bottom trim is the same exact thing. Same UV style. This is really nice. I like it. But then I can add like a cut and then UV that trim specifically to fit perfectly onto like a trim sheet. I can add baseboard procedurally. I can add the top procedurally. I can bevel this edge, which a lot of people do that with the interior facing edge of this wall. If you take this edge and you bevel it, when you convex corner them, they're not that noticeable, whereas this is very noticeable. And it can all be built into one HDA that I just keep building out. Do we have like a mega wall that does like everything you'd ever want for like a video game? So I think I'm gonna select all this and make a sub network out of it. Subnet. You've been subnetted. And then I'm gonna call this modular wall door. 1. Something like that. And then I make this thing a digital asset. I'm gonna save it in my Houdini folder, which I think it knows that already. Yeah, let's put it there. It's called Matte Modular Door 01, which I like. Hey, I'm gonna keep calling it that. Modular Wall Door 1, except, yeah. So it's oh, and then I gotta go put all the inputs in it, or the parameters. Right. But they're all right here. Oh, they're not parameterized in a safe way. Though, like, oh, that's not world grid depth, but, oh, okay, I'll leave it called that, but that's not right. I'm the one running this, so it's okay. But, so now the HDA has the controls on it. I think I need to save it again. I don't know. I'm going to. And I'll go bring that into Unreal and build an actual static mesh with it now. In the old video game. Assets, save asset, modular wall door 1. Yeah. You're gonna stick with C4D Houdini story stream? Yeah, for sure. Depends on what you're trying to get done. So it's gonna come in some like weird ass defaults like this, but whatever. What's so easy? Oh, good. That's what Dan said.
I just got my C-stands, and I already broke them down, put them in the car, so I'm gonna go back.
Oh, cool. With Shoshi?
I'd rather not. She doesn't want to go back in. Can I just leave Ripster for
No,
them?
no. Oh, with Ami? Sure, but I'm not watching them. That's not. I don't think that's a good idea.
Because it'll be like 15 minutes. Joshi!
If you want to, you can do that.
No, I have to go to the dump. Do you want to come back here or do you want to come inside?
Houdini. We've got one generator so far. I need a file explorer. I mean, I think most people should just start with Blender. Just like you have to be able to make it by hand first to then make the programmable version. I think. I should probably make this easier to find. Walls. Here's the wall door, modular wall door. There we go. You need a reason, like why do you want to make everything modular? It depends. So I have to put this into like a dummy map because I don't build maps the way that most games build maps. We don't have any static maps anymore. The whole thing is always generated. So I need like a dummy. I use my screenshot map to kind of generate the static meshes, which is here. Yeah, so this is where I was like messing around with the different stairs, and that's the one I ended up with. So I'll delete these. Like you could literally just like the static meshes are worth like nothing now. It doesn't matter. You just I just make a new one. You know, it's kind of cool. Like these are the masters, and the static the static meshes that you make, which are normally like the master. Like that's the FBX master. Now it's just like I'll just make another one right now. You want another one? What? How big? What parameters? So we do want a 4x4 by 0.2. This is going to go into the subway set. And I wanted it to be like, so like my residential door simplification is about, 1 meter wide by 2 meters tall. So it's kind of...
She's playing Switch in the other room. I'm going to try to just go with my own music.
Okay, yeah, she'll be fine. She'll come get me.
I got Ami to give her the Switch.
So I'm going to do 2 wide. And this trim now doesn't make a ton of sense, but like, and then I'll do 3. So that's a big door that we don't normally have in the game, but it's for like a commercial. It's for the subway, right? So then we'd stick, which I need to go make real quick in Substance, just like a steel, like it's just a seamless steel texture that has like dirt, like roughness on it, and we're just kind of like taking a shot in the dark where the texture lands. But it's the kind of asset where it doesn't like necessarily need to be perfectly trimmed. Like if it's the right color and shininess, it's like, you can't really tell. Now I don't know if the materials are right because it did this like auto link. So like when you set up the materials, it tries to keep them like this. Use native Houdini materials. I'm like, I don't want that. Like, and when it makes a static mesh, I don't want it to actually make new materials, and it just give it a second. It just does like messy things to the project. Okay, we gotta chill. This thing is sitting. Are we crashing? Yeah, we crashed. Yeah, so it is a little bit like that too. There's a little bit of this. The HDA plugin is super crashy. It works, but I would say I crash at least once every time I use it. It works, but definitely crashy, especially if you try to like ride the slider. That doesn't work. You can't do that. You gotta just straight type it in there. Like all the Unreal Engine demos, there's a couple that went like kind of viral, and they even interviewed the artist after. They're like Houdini Unreal Engine demos. They're all time lapse times 10 because you're basically like typing in the parameter, click, type in the parameter, click, and it kind of appears at 10 speed that you're like sliding it, but there's no real time interaction. You have to build like a simplified mesh or something like that. It's just crunching or cooking or whatever they call it. It's like rebaking the whole mesh at once. You can't just do that on a slider unless we have like a quantum computer. Okay, let me go get that map again. Yeah, but it's a little bit crashy. I can imagine. There's a lot happening. So I turned off use the Houdini materials. Hopefully the element IDs are still there. Imagine they are. Ooh, what the fuck? These are two meshes. How come I have two meshes? Is that what happened? When I turn off the materials, does it split them out? I don't want that. This is going to give me two static meshes. Is that what this option is? I'm gonna crash. Okay, we're still here. How come it didn't combine these together? I haven't had that. I've never seen this. Like if I bake this to an actor, is this gonna be two actors? I guess I'm gonna try that. I thought I knew this workflow, and I don't. So I'm gonna do replace with actors, which doesn't actually replace it. It made two static meshes. Shit. I mean, actually, it's kind of cool. It's now I have this wall piece without trim and with it. It's not the worst, but I didn't want to. But so those are now legit Unreal Engine game static meshes. But that's not what I wanted. And then I have to go like find them and get them out of like it puts them in the main content folder like this. Just like I think I delete these out of here. Oh, and I was doing merge actor. I was doing some merge actor stuff. That's pretty cool. I'll do that eventually. You shouldn't. Oh no, they're referenced by the mesh, of course. Yeah, but I don't want these. Like I want the element IDs, but I don't want the actual material. But I think that's the only way you do it. I don't know why this separated them. I have a staircase that's separate meshes. So the only thing I can think of that's different about this is that I call this the rendered collision geo. And I think that splits it. Like, what I have to do is send this one and then this one separately. Send both. And this is not rendered. So I'm going to see if I can fix that right now. Because I want them together. The more actors per blueprint, the worse the performance. So I'm going to just stick them together. But I still need to group it. So I need to make another group like this. Group. That's the only thing that's different. So this one's going to be called, that's not where you name it. You name it up here. It's going to be called wall. That's the wall. And this one's the collision. So this is now not a rendered collision. It's just a collision geo. Right, and now my assignments are all screwed up, so we'll just make sure that's what it's called. Collision Geo Simple. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. Collision Geo Simple. Collision Geo Simple 00 wall door. That should work. That one won't render. So that's the collision, but it won't render. This will render, and hopefully it doesn't split the meshes. That was a weird behavior. And then I need to change the material assignment of this one is now... No. Wall. This is like real sad now though. What's wrong? It doesn't like oh no, that one fixed itself. This merges are real finicky. Like you need to like send them like the exact something. I don't know what's up. But let me bypass this group real quick. Looks okay. So this one is now a non-rendered collision. That's the picture collision. Hopefully it keeps them together. And otherwise, yeah, I don't know what happened. But there we go. So I'm gonna do save asset. I gotta like select this one. Modular wall door thing. Saved it. I think it's saved. Back into here. I'm gonna delete these because these are they're kind of useful, but I'm gonna save this map. Kill the memory references of it. This should be a clean delete without a root check. Yeah, we're good. Nice. And then back into the Houdini folder, we're going to regenerate the this re-import. I'm going to leave the materials thing checked. Okay. 4.24, and we did what? 3 by 3 would be interesting actually. Yeah, I mean that'll help. Oh no. Oh boy, we got This don't feel good. We're okay. We're okay. When you type that parameter, you wait. You say, oh, Jesus. Even saving. Fuck. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so they're a little crashy. We could also not use the plugin and just like generate them in Houdini and just FBX them. But I'm gonna keep trying it this way. I think the in-editor HDAs that like are kind of like necessary to have the HDA is when you're like doing level layout with the HDA on like a landscape or something like that. Then it like you really could not anticipate what it would look like in the map. Mine are just static meshes, so I could just also be FBX exporting. And if this crashes again, that's probably what I'm gonna do. But in theory, I don't even think I've been using Houdini for a full week yet, but in theory this is the way. If you rely a little bit too hard on this Houdini plugin, you are not going to be able to stay on the latest Unreal Engines as fast as well. It's kind of a big dependency. Where I don't technically need this HDA workflow. I just think it's cool. I can just export FBXs. That's fine. Get in there. Oh, almost. There we go. The stairs were crashing the same amount. I still got it to work, but they were still just as crashy. Okay, 4.2433.01 points. That's fine. That's all fine. Let's see if you are two different meshes. If you are, I'm gonna be real sad. No. Okay, so that was the case. So if you do a visible collision, a rendered collision, it splits into a different map, into a different mesh. I don't know why. But saving. Okay. Replace with actors. Give it a second. Okay, it's going. Delete the HDA out of the map. It's just one mesh now. We'll go clean up the mess it made in here. Save that. I'm gonna strip this down to world grid. Let's see the collision. Looks bad. That's not good. That's a full collision. That's not good. Well, I'll play it, but that collision's not good. That's like it didn't use it, but didn't show it either. I need to put this in a level. I don't have any playable levels. All my levels are like generated at runtime, so it's like I can't just like throw it into a blueprint and start running around, or into a map and start running. Anyway, I'm gonna strip these materials off of it so I can delete them. This level might still be like kind of have like a memory reference of them, but I think I should really kill these. Nope, no memory reference is good. So we have this mesh here. Again, it's just like you just bake it right from the HDA, so it's no longer the master. You don't even really need to like rename them like as tightly as you used to, because we don't re-import them from an FBX file on the disk. It's generated. But I don't trust that collision at all. But that's a wall. I mean, I'll still. Is this thing really ready to be put into the actual system? Find out. So doing this off screen over here. My static mesh folder. Put this over here. Move it. Okay, so we'll generate the actual blueprint for it now. This is in industrial. So this is just another wall. So this is just wall O. We've already made 6, so this is our 7th wall that fits this snapping system. Just call it all 7. And I'm gonna strip. This whole system's gonna go away. The swapping material thing, it's just too heavy. This was not a good one to choose, but it's fine. I'll use it as a base. Where'd that wall go? Here we go. Boop. So, to make this snap for our world, it has to be there. Like that. Should be 290. And we'll just stick some, just kind of like whatever material instances I have for this on here. I will use the subway tile for the main material. I don't like the order that those came in. I wonder if I can... I'm pretty sure I can control the order of these element IDs because I would want it to be wall first, just like in general. And I'm using my IV material here, which is, again, it's not like... It's going to look weird, but it's like... Yeah, so it has some like weird substance painter artifacts on it, but like... It's a dirty metal, and that's what that would be eventually anyway. We didn't build the inner part because there would be a door frame. The procedural door would then go inside of that, which I'll probably make next. What time is it? 11? Yeah, maybe. But pretty happy with the Houdini Booleans. Those are super clean, and the entire... Doing the FBX workflow back to UE4 as like a couple nodes. UVing is literally just like a node now. And the HDA works. It's a little crashy. So I just gotta add this into the database and I can test it out. I kind of anticipate the collision being effed up, but it's maybe okay. And it just like the generated, it just looks weird in the editor, but only one way to really know. So this is wall. I don't know what I'm calling these. Wall, subway, door, something like that. I got a screenshot of these. Just grab a wall thumbnail. Warehouse. Okay. So we got to pull out of this map. This isn't gonna work. Okay. I think this is gonna have a bunch of stuff in it, so I gotta make a new one. Okay, so that's the new one. So we're gonna have subway floor, wall. I'm not gonna use the track. Stairs I want to see and how the trims work together, or the columns rather. So this is floor, and then we'll do this kind of wall. And I need trimmed versions of these pretty soon. And then this would be okay. No, that's fine. Oh, I didn't put the material back, but it looks like it's... Yeah, the collision's effed. Why didn't the collision come through? I named you collision, didn't I? Damn it. Boop. That's a nope. That's a nope. I'm gonna save this. Okay, so the material is easy. The collision is not as easy. But yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this whole having to do this per instance. This is gonna drive me crazy if I have to do it like this. Oh, that's not what okay, that's fine. Yeah, and then we'll just click that one here. It's gonna scoot me all the way back out, and then there. That's... Yeah, 46 is black shiny. No. There it is. There we go. Okay. Those are all my materials now. The other ones were like Megascans and Substance and stuff. These ones, the ones named like this are all mine. Made in Designer. So, something's wrong with the HDA. And I could believe that. Like, I named this incorrectly. This collision. Or it's not being merged or something. Let's do group 1 into group... Sure, 3. Okay, so... It's the same mesh. One of them has the material applied to it. This one should just be the... Did I like disable it or something? Let me look at if I disable this one. What? They don't have materials. Something's wrong here. Rendered collision wall door wall. Oh, okay. So Wait, what? What did that just do? This is the first one. This is the wall shader. It needs to go on. No, not like that. The wall. I did both. I had both in there. That was what's happening. Just don't escape. Don't do anything. So that didn't work. Wall, unless that's on top of it. So let me disable this one. Damn it. I'm gonna cut it off. I need to see what's happening. So it is there. It's overwriting it because it's the first merge, maybe. So that is right. This is door trim group, door trim shader. This should have no shader, but it's basically overwriting it when I do this. And you're templated. And now it's not. Cool, I guess? I don't know. The materials were set up wrong. I was putting a material on the collision as well. I wouldn't think that would like not do the collision, but I guess that's it. So those are correctly. So we're doing the material IDs now. And did I name this wrong? I'm going to just say that minus this. Collision geo simple. This is it. This is how you tell it to be a collision. I'm not going to put numbers in it like this. It's going to be like this wall. Maybe that number doesn't like. It doesn't like a number up front. That's the Maya way though. In Maya you have to you number them 00, 01, 02. Merge is still a little finicky. Does not have. Oh no! Oh, it cleared it. Oh, it's good now. It's happy. No warnings on the merge. Okay. So this again. Doing this again. I could just exploit the FBX right there as well. But I'll do this HDA thing. Hope it doesn't. It might crash. Okay. So what do I have to do here? So we're gonna go to the Houdini folder. Let's open up the map too. So we have an instance of it. Nah, those are just big statics already. So we gotta just kill these. This is like dead now. Save it. I'm gonna go delete that mesh in a second. Houdini. Modular wall. Go in. A little bit. Oh, you frozen. A little afraid to reparameterize this at the moment, but let me do a collision check from show collision's not a flag that can call right now. Well, let it bake for a second. Sometimes it like tells you at the bottom and it's not telling me at the bottom. Like it. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we'll save a lot of money that way.
I know. You should. You won't even believe when you go downstairs how much I got rid of today. It would have been like a whole other mountain.
Oh, because you got a bunch of. Oh shit.
I got 2 C-stands.
It's just crashy. It's not your fault. That's good. That's good.
So from now on, just make files.
Fuck. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't. I can just static mesh it this way. But that collision thing, I don't know if this collision naming works without the HDA. I think it does. I think this actually still works, but I'm gonna FBX out from here. I don't super enjoy crashing this much. So I have to re-import it then. So I'm gonna say wall. Now I have to remember how I name all these things. 400 by 20. Still working in Unreal Engine naming because that's where it all ends up. I don't know the type anymore because I don't have my file system out. I'm just because I jumped to 6 maybe. 01. And hit enter and save to disk. So then we gotta go with the regular FBX import. I don't want to keep crashing. I feel like I'm not doing anything like too heavy either. Like it's not. I'm like as far as the plugin. I definitely understand there's a lot happening, but I mean, I'm just like is like a behind the scenes is like a boolean and a couple like extreme. It's not that heavy. I would think that possibly the thing that's crashing it are any of the beta labs nodes. Like those are probably, they say beta on them, right? It's like just like Unreal Engine ray tracing is early release as well. It's not, you're not supposed to ship games with it. I would guess that those are the ones throwing this off. Like if I pulled those out, it would be a little bit more stable. It's a little rough that the Houdini engine crashes UE4 too. I don't super like that. Okay, so if we do it the FBX way, which is completely fine, it still saves a lot of time. And then I can do a hot reload of the static mesh as well. I don't have to generate it every time. So where is this? Is there any garbage left in here? No. I'm gonna leave those mergey things there. So blocks, statics. So we'll just import into here. I can't delete that currently because it's referenced, so I'll just import here. Walls, that's, oh shit, okay. So no collision because we should have one. Import mesh LEDs, I didn't make any. We'll find out. And scales at 100, no materials. So I kind of like this better because it's not going to poop out materials every time. But no smoothing groups. Oh yeah, I didn't do any smoothing groups. Well. Oh, 3 materials? There's 3? Uh-oh, that's not right. So, damn it. Okay, we're not done. And what? There's no collisions? It might be there, but like we don't see it. Ugh, okay. I swear this works for the stairs. I don't know what I'm doing differently today. And I have 3 materials. What the fuck? Like it's not stripping it out now. Because I'm not doing the HDA thing. How could there possibly be 3 materials on this mesh? Let me find the blueprint. Is it open? No, I crashed so many times it's gone. Okay, so let's see. Residential, industrial. It's the 7th wall. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like. Static mesh. Where are you? So that's this one now. It's named normally. The HDA workflow does something differently than... What's this last one? That's the collision. That's not gonna work. So did I change anything? I mean, I might have changed some stuff. So the HDA might have still done this, and maybe I will go back to the HDA. It added an extra slot. That's not good. Maybe I did it wrong. That's possible as well, but that's not what I want. So if I hook this back up there, I can just start doing the hot loading from the FBX, which is this is how I normally work, and it's arguably better because it doesn't keep making new every time I do that generate static mesh actor, it's gonna also put those materials in the game, and then I gotta keep deleting them. It's this one. Okay, so I didn't set it up right, but the collision's there. Okay, so we have the collision. This is the beginning. Tiles I-beam. What the? Tiles I-beam looks like this. Then why, when I set it back, does it not? This isn't Houdini's fault. This is my fault. 0, 1, 1. What do I have to tell this to? This shouldn't have to happen. 2 I-beam. I need to look at the static mesh if this is going to keep. Doesn't make sense. But the collision's back. The material's not being put back properly though. Let me build a new, you know what, let me just delete this. Uh-oh. You have no collision at all. That's what's happening. There's no collision at all. It's not that it's not that the collision works. There is no collision. You set it up, bitch wall. I was not anticipating this giving me this much issues. There's no collision. That makes sense. There's an extra element because it didn't recognize it as the collision. That makes sense. Like if it did generate the collision, it wouldn't have also put that extra material on it. So what the fuck? What do we do here? Collision geosimple wall. Maybe I am gonna put a 0 back in here. It shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter. Like, and now is this merge sad? No, it's fine. Door trim group. So this is the order I was expecting as wall door trim, because it's like an ordered material node, and that's what it did come in that way. Huh. Okay, well I'm gonna export again. This should just overwrite it completely. Now let's not do ASCII. I don't know if that matters. I'm gonna do not ASCII. Save to disk. So now I can just hot load it back in as a mesh. There, where'd you go? This one. Re-import. Let's look what's going on. 3 materials, not good. And again, no collision. It would say collision in the custom collision somewhere down here. And there's basically 2 on top of each other. That's what this is. So it's not recognizing the collision. Now that collision is FBX though. It's not HD. Oh no, it is. Well no, it's Houdini for Unreal Engine. So does this mean I have to go through the HDA if I want the collision? Is it not a simple collision? Is it a UCX? Is that the issue? Convex collision? Maybe it has to be that one. That might be it. It's not a simple collision, it's a UCX. And the naming shouldn't matter other than the prefix, because I mean I would think. So export again. And I guess I'll keep this open because I'm gonna have to. Oh, okay. We chilling? Yeah. Oh no, we're back. We're back. So, hot load this again. Fuck. Oh no, you know what? It might need the No, still no. I'm gonna just delete it and bring it back out. Oh god damn it. Okay, so. Kill the reference. We're gonna just delete this and bring it back. It might not be. It doesn't refresh elements to memory references. What was it? It's in a save file. Fine, fuck it. Eventually, my root checks won't be this painful. I'm slowly stripping out all the third-party stuff, so this game will be like smaller. Root checks before I did that last cleanup, where I would go do something. This shouldn't be so bad. Man, I wasn't expecting this from this wall piece, but I just need to get this workflow down. Well, while I'm waiting. This is what I was using, isn't it? It was this one, because simple collisions are just boxes and spheres. Well, no. Maybe. I'll go look. I should go look at the staircase, because the stair works perfectly, and it's more complicated by like all means. Like, I mean, I thought it was more complicated, but it works perfectly. The collision, the materials, everything is perfect. The HDA wasn't as crashy. Collision Geo UCX, rendered Geo, rendered Collision Geo, Collision Geo UCX. That's the one I'm using and hoping, but it didn't recognize it. Collision Geo UCX. So okay, hold on. So let's bring in that again. 1110. Yeah, it's probably been updated. Auto generate collision. I'm gonna leave that flagged. 1 convex hull per UCX. Combine meshes. Yeah. I gotta stick some smoothing groups on this thing. Fuck. Does not work. Number of collision primitive is 1, but that's because it generated it itself. Weird one, actually. Weird one. Okay. Why is this not? I'm doing something wrong. It's definitely me. I'm gonna delete it. Because if you re-import it, even if it's right, it won't update the element ID. It's this. It's not recognizing this as a collision, and I'm doing something wrong. I think that's probably what it is. We're grouping it. We're calling it collision geo underscore UCX. The whatever. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Collision geo UCX. I need to go over my staircase, but it's gonna look like that. And we weren't doing this though. It was like completely separate. I don't think the merge order should matter. This one's called wall. It does not like this being. It does not recognize this. Be like superstitious and call it wall. Without the number first. And then now the merge is funny again. What's this? I made that by accident, I guess. Wait a minute, what happened to my FBX export? Did I delete it or something? Oh, here it is. Oh, wait a minute. Should I not be doing this from... I should be able to do this from any context I want. I could do this from inside the HDA now. I also don't normally export from HDAs. This shouldn't really matter. Okay, it's gonna overwrite it. We're not doing ASCII. It shouldn't really matter. Maya compatible. I mean, what did I even change anything? Damn it. Let me bring in the HDA. The crash DA. Okay. So, kill this. Let's see if this works for some reason. I guess I did bring this stair in through the HDA workflow, so... Okay, I'll try it like this. Saving that. I can delete these. Oh, not that many. Those are doing nothing. No memory. If there's a memory reference has a redirector, I'll just leave it. And that's how your project turns into shit, is you just leave those things in there. So back into the Houdini world. Here, let's reload this. Open it. I need a map specifically to check it. Uh-oh, this is still... Well, okay, that's okay. This has just been in here. I'm going to delete it and bring it back in. That's the same thing as the pushing the import. Houdini. Let it completely regenerate itself. And the... Okay, give it a second. The real check is how many material IDs it got put on there. 2. So I have a feeling that that collision naming stuff only works if you HDA it. Because that looks perfect, assuming the collision came through. And maybe the order was even corrected, I'm not sure. Okay, do not crash, please. I don't understand why it recompiles the shader. I guess it's giving it it's in case these parameters are driving the shader back in Houdini, it does that. Give me the actors. Okay, good. Didn't split it. Now the question is, what's in this actor? Like, you're gonna do good stuff or what? What's in here? 2 things. Where's your collision? We can't tell. We won't know until we play with it. So I'm gonna go swap that into the blueprint. Didn't crash either. It's good. Okay. I'll inspect it first. We should see it. I'm like superstitious about even looking at the collision now. The materials are correct. And is there a custom collision in here? Not really. Customized collision. I feel like there's no collision. But we'll go look. Oh, well, normals matter for collisions is something that I noticed the other day. It could be the collisions on the normals are flipped. I'm not gonna click that collision thing. I'm like superstitious about it now. I'm just gonna stick this static mesh in the class and just try it. 7. U. Oh, that's the old one. I was like, what the? I was like, how did that happen? There we go. Okay. I feel like it doesn't have a collision. And what it could be is that the collisions normals are flipped. Oh no, this might be real sad. I wasn't supposed to launch into this map. Okay, we're okay. We're good. There's no like, it just doesn't know what to do, but it just like picks defaults on its own, so it doesn't crash. Okay, so through the HDA, the materials are correct, but the collision is not correct. Is this exactly where I was about like an hour ago? I feel like it did pick up on the fact that it's a collision because there's not a third material element. But the collision isn't right. Is this curve based? Nah, these are pretty much like boxes and grids, so it's pretty much like polys. I was gonna possibly draw this shape with dots or points and have it be a curve and extrude it, but I wanted to see how Booleans worked. And they're great. But my collision is not so good. This is my collision. And by the looks of it, the normals are fine. Like, let's get in here. Ooh, are they not? Is the back of this a little funny? No, I see you. And I did the normals at the end, and it's rendering fine. So the normals, I think it's okay to say that they're fine. This is my collision object. It's also the same exact thing for my rendered geo. But it's sad. Something's wrong. I don't know exactly how to debug it either, like, and it's kind of like weird that when I FBX import it, that this doesn't work. This collision naming convention only works through the engine plugin. Well, I think it's picking up on it because you don't see it. So it's saying that this is a collision, but it's not like, it's not right. I mean, that's about it. It could be that this shape is wrong. I could draw a collision separately, but I was pretty sure that this is fine. I think this shape is valid. Like, we should just walk through it. It's picking up on this naming, but Unreal Engine's just like not getting that at all. Let me go look at the mesh again, and then the HDA, and then the mesh again. So if this like looks like it's right, like it stripped it out, right? Like it doesn't have the man, look at the name of the material. Ew, the slot name. like it took out the one that's, what's it called? The collision, but it's not making the collision here. Do I have to say like this thing is the stairs work fine. The stairs are like perfect. I could say complex. I don't want to do that though. That's completely defeats the purpose of this. Even the complex looks kind of effed up. Oh no, it's because the simple's over it. Complex is fine, but that's just using the mesh itself. It sure as hell did not generate it. Let me go look at the HTA. I mean, I don't know why I'm stuck here. Yeah, the trim is being created procedurally too. I mean, we made the staircase yesterday. That's like even crazier with like a, it's just crazier all around. This is by, you know, by all measures simpler. Where'd my HDs go? They are here. Like this stair one's way more complicated. There might have been an option in here with like collisions. I don't think so though. Right, so this is generating a mesh with two materials on it. One simple collider. It sees the collider. It even says it. It says one simple collider's in there somewhere. Double-sided geometry for collisions, no. Block all. Project default. Light map resolution. But you can change that here. I guess that makes sense, yeah. I didn't have to do anything for the stairs. The stairs were fine. Here's collision as well. What was that? Oh, it's physics. We don't care about that shit. Physics. Can step on, yes. Block all. Doesn't generate overlap events. Cast shadow. Oh, here's a collision thing. No, that's spawn collision handling. Doesn't matter. My thinking is that it's doing it right, but there's something wrong with the collision itself. Like it's let me look at my stairs. Bring this out because this one works. I mean, fingers crossed, nothing broke as I changed it. Yeah, like look how long that cook takes. Like this thing is way more work for everybody. And what does it say for collisions? One simple collider. So I think I'm doing something wrong. Like, cause like, oh, Jesus. That still feels like a crash with that little circle there. No, we're okay. It's, I think it's working, but my collision for some reason is not what I was expecting. Like, I think this is, everything's being done correctly, but that's just not doing what I think it's doing. Like it's, but I don't know what to say other than like it's a freaking cube with a hole cut out of it. It's treating this like it's just flat all the way through, but it does recognize it's a collision. It does not create another material ID. Like if I change the name of this, it'll just make 3 material IDs, which is what the FBX exporter does, sadly. But I can't walk through it. Let me look at that staircase again. So like when I, let me go look at my because this works. I did the same exact thing. I generated like a different one. The mesh for that is, I actually don't know. Which one is it? Is it this one or is it this one? Use complex. I think it's this one. This is the one that we generated. Clearly, it's like has the crazy ass name for it, and its collision is right there. Yeah, this one works great. And what's the collision look like when you have a custom? Doesn't really look any different. Other than the simple collision shows up at all. So that's one that we generate. I generated this staircase, and then this one does that. So what is that? So that, no, what is this? That is the generated one. So it's doing it. It's just wrong. Why are you wrong? Why is that why is that just a... So this is fun. This is all working. It's just this collision's being fed a square. Where I don't know how to... UCX. I even changed it to like the convex. I'm about to change it to collision. Just like just do that, and then it's just gonna switch it to the complex. That's not a good fix though. This type of collider uses per face collision. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that because it's gonna use the trim then. I mean, actually, on that mesh, it's not that bad, but like. The stairs work, and the stairs are like way harder. I don't get it. Now, what is this? Like, this is kind of what's happening. Is like I have a collision like this, but it looks like that. It's like it got simplified or something like that. Like it LOD'd itself. Splitting can be used to add multiple colliders per object. These are LOD collisions. Damn it! What the? I need to open up the stair blender Houdini file for a second. Where is this thing? No. What did I name your collision? Oh no, I disconnected it. Oh god. This was for the demo I made. What up, dude? What did I name this thing? Collision Geo UCX _01. That works perfectly. To be honest, the other one works too, so it's this. I'm gonna name it the exact same thing. That really shouldn't matter. I unplugged everything to make a demo out of it, but I could just hook it back up. Am I not seeing something simple about this? I mean, this shouldn't matter at all. That shouldn't... If that fixes it, I don't understand, but... I'd be happy, but I don't get it then. Material and then an output. I'll save this HDA. There's a small person behind me. Feel quite... Do not want to have all these in here. Crashy wise. And so I'm going to go back to Houdini. Folder here. Re-import. Save it. Bring it up. And so basically, I'm not even going to change the parameters. Like, that doesn't matter. It sees that it has one simple collider. But it did that before. But it wasn't making the right shape. I don't think this is going to work. So I'm going to save this. Did I change a sentence? No, it found it. I'm going to do the replace actor thing. Huh? Nobody? It's because the chat's popped out. So this mesh, where are you? That's the new one. Yeah, that sounds good. Or you can wait till later.
What time are you done?
12:30.
12:30? Oh, that was the afternoon.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I have stopped at 12:30 for the last couple whiles. This didn't work. What the fuck is this? I don't understand. It's just a box. How are you returning a box from that? So this works, it's just not the right collision. Everything else is fine, and super feels like it's probably my fault somewhere. Like, what's in here? Like, I want to see just this collision. How is it just a box? How Are you thinking this is literally just a box? I feel like things like this are usually a single checkbox somewhere. It's like simplify on the way in for whatever or something like that. It's something like because it's fine. It sees the collision. Element IDs are perfect. UVs are fine. You know, it's just it's this collision is getting simplified down to a cube. Okay. Generated static mesh settings. Double-sided geometry, physics, collision material. We're not doing that. Presets. No, it doesn't matter. Collision complexity, project default. That's what we want. Walkable slope override. You can do that per mesh. That's cool. I didn't know you could do that. Light maps. None of this stuff is going to be it. And then there's just nothing in here. This is all stuff that you set per mesh anyway. It's not like there would be like something like simplify collision, but like why would you have that as an option? Cooking actions. I feel like that was gonna crash. Just opening that to check those options. Man, I'm super lost on that. That sucks. It likes this as a collision, strips out the material, like it treats it as a collision, right? Doesn't add the ID. This itself is like the UCX. It's a super clean, you know, convex mesh. Normals are they're going the right way. Like if I flip the normals and you sent it in as a collision, then you just walk right through it and you would get stuck in the middle. Like you'd pass through this and then get stopped by the reversed face of that one. Like, I don't know what to say about this collision not coming through correctly. Everything else is perfect. UVs, everything is great. It's kind of sad that I'm gonna FBX out of here, but like when I do this FBX export that I don't think that it comes through. I'll leave it as ASCII. Maybe that was the issue actually. I'm just gonna call it out because I don't care. I don't really think this is gonna work either, but I'm gonna go import that one directly inside of the graph like this. Just put it right here. It's a mess. I'm gonna have to go clean this all up now. Just don't make it. I know it's not going to if it. I don't even want to like. Combine mesh is probably default. Like that Houdini plugin is calling this FBX importer with its own like like you know checklists of when to do these and when not to, and then stuff. But three materials, so this definitely doesn't have a collision. Like, yeah, so it's weird that that doesn't come through. Kind of expected that though. Damn, man, I don't know how to fix this. So these are all garbage right here. Not that material though. It's called out. It's gonna be even kind of painful to delete these now. Maybe those ones will be clean because they're kind of self-referencing themselves. Nah, this is in here. This is in a map somewhere. Yeah. Oh god. Nah, I'm making a mess. If you do this like for like 3 days, it takes like a full day to clean it up after. All the references are like everywhere. So I gotta like actually fix this before I make a huge mess, which I already have. It works. It's just the wrong collision. So this is being referenced somewhere in that blueprint. Let's just kill the reference to it. That's all it is. Then the rest of it should be clean. Man. I really wish it didn't spit out these materials. It just made blanks. Maybe there's a way to do that. Nice clean delete. Cool. This one too should have no issues. Okay. So if you FBX out from here, given the way that I've named things, this don't work. And the way that we did it in Maya, we would just say UCX underscore number, and I wonder if that would pick up on it, right? Like this is like this collision naming is for Houdini engine. I wonder if I do like just the normal FBX workflow. Complex hull collision invisible. That's what it is. It's a collision GeoUCX. Now, if I did like this, I could see it simplifying it. Or this, you know, I could see it being like it would just make it a box, you know. But the complex one, I should feed it the complex collision. I don't even know why I'm trying to do the other workflow, but UE4 FBX. It's just UCX underscore mesh name. It's not gonna work. I think I'd have to group everything, and yeah. So this is the Maya way. This is the way I used to do it. It works in Blender too. I think I never actually went into none of the stuff I made in Blender actually went to. I never made the collisions. I just used the complexes. Let me pass this as a as a complex. Let me just try a different thing. Like I feel like I wrote this, but it did this collision geo simple box. Like it's just simplifying it way down. So I'm gonna give it the complex. Just do the so that is convex hull collision. It should be this one. I'm gonna give it this one. Complex collision geo. Wall. So collision geo 01 wall. So that the HDA. My guess is that the I gotta kill this. My guess is that the whatever this plugin's calling in the background, it's calling that import function. Is that it's not gonna come in with a collision. It's just gonna switch it to complex as a project default, which would have worked all along, but it's not what I want. But I want to see if this even updates, because I have a feeling it's like stuck or something. Like you need to delete that node and bring it back or something, like because it's working. It's just sending the wrong collision. I'm about to start this whole thing all over and just like figure out at what point this died. Oh, that did. I was expecting like a prompt. It just does it. So now on re-imports, the mesh it creates should just be like, the collision should just be the mesh itself. But let's see what it does. Oh, that's not good. What the F is this? Invisible complex collider. What? It's like a different mesh? Oh, God. And what's this? It says no collision? We don't want this. So what's this going to do? I guess I'll look at its bake. I'm afraid for this. I'm afraid for the results of it. And I don't, if this works, I don't want to do it this way anyway. Oh, damn it. Sure, bake to actors. So there's two of these now, and what? One of them has a collision, one of them doesn't. Like, so what's this one? I don't want this. This is just I just want to delete this anyway. Where's your collision-y stuff? Invisible wall. Collision preset. Invisible wall. That's very interesting. And then they want you to basically like put those together. You would always put those into the same blueprint. That's very weird. Physics. Where did the actual collision go? I don't see it. There should be somewhere it's like... That's very weird. Maybe someone does it that way. Invisible collider. And then what's this one set at? I don't like that, but it did update, so it is responsive. Like it did update itself. So let's look at these two meshes real quick. Project default, and then the other one, let's see how they implement this. Use complex as simple. It just switched the flag. Now, what is this mesh? So first of all, what's going on with the preview lighting? Why is it so dark? But first of all, it did spit out the right shape collision. Like it can get this shape across. And it just made this one complex. So I really I don't. It's working, but it's not. Like, and this is all fine. It's all fine except for when I send it, when I tell it to do the basic UCX one, it just doesn't work. So this is all working. That proves to me that that collision shape is valid and it comes through. But when I just change that one name, it stops. It doesn't work. I don't know why. Right? So the one that I want is collision geo UCX. Convex hull collision that's invisible. Been stuck on this for like, it feels like 2 hours now. Hop into this HDA. All I have to do is rename this thing collision geo UCX, and it should send this shape. And this shape has, in that last version, it definitely sent it over. It sent it. Like, there is this warning. I don't know. Oh no, the warning went away. We'll double check this material. There's 2 params. One's for the wall group. The other one's for the door trim group. That's all been fine. Normals are fine. UVs are fine. This output. Could this possibly be effing anything up, this output here? I don't think so. All my other ones had it. So I changed one name. Save asset. I'm kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So if this doesn't work, I'm just going to walk away from this project for today. But that makes it a sad place to end. What if I just clean? I think the re-import is pretty clean. I was going to delete that and bring it in clean, but I have, it's been working. Like it worked. Oh, crash. Okay, so the when I updated it to complex collision, it worked fine. Like when I reloaded it, it didn't like retain some like old setting. Maybe this crash is a good thing. Restart the editor, you know. It's just getting the wrong shape coming through. The fix, if I want to move on from this, is just to use complex collision on the static mesh that gets generated. It's not like a staircase or something like. It's like that doesn't like hit performance at all. But like, you know, if I wanted to like ship this tomorrow, that would fix everything. Sort of. Get down there. So is it gonna be in there? It's not. Ugh, scary. Okay, so we gotta bring this in again. Don't crash. Don't crash because I have no other way to get this in here. The FBX workflow doesn't work with collisions. Okay, buddy. I don't think I've missed a checkbox, but there's always that. It sees it, UVs are fine, it sees the collision, but will it generate said collision? Oh shit. Oh no. These HDAs are heavy. It's still spinning. Still spinning. Okay. I'm gonna do bake to actors. How about that? We won't replace it. We're just gonna bake to fuck. Okay, that's not good. Oh, it doesn't reopen on its own, right? What? You're so sad. You know, like I'm starting to think it's a geometry crash. It's not a it's this. Cause what am I using here? It's boxes into a Boolean, quick shade, blast, UV project. We're not even using beta sops. These are all fine. This is all like, you know, core logic. We're not using any of the experimental stuff. The only thing I'm doing that's kind of funny is this compared to the other one. But what's so, I mean, I'm I'm not even making new geometry, I'm just grouping it. Maybe it doesn't like that. Maybe this is bad. Grouping, splitting this off. But it's designed to do that. It like wants me to be able to do this. Like, because it's simple. It's like very light. Versus making an entirely separate tree, which I'm about to do. I'm about to do this Boolean again and feed it as the collision as a separate mesh. That's what I'm going to do next. If this keeps not working. I'm going to change the Houdini graph itself because it's also so crashy. This is crashier than, like, I think it usually is. But that's a weird thing to crash on. So, you crashed, but did you make the geometry? You didn't. You just super crashed. Big folder. Oh, you can change the big folder. Oh, dope. I want to do that. Do I? Eventually, I'll change that big folder. Replace with actors. Crash. Wow. Okay, so we're like much worse off than we were before. Now it's just like crashing super hard. And I don't know how to FBX out anymore with collisions. Did I ever have that working? I can FBX out and use a complex. So what my next thought is that this is bad. It shouldn't feed the collision back onto it from a split from that. But I mean, isn't that like how Houdini works though? Like, is it gonna fix it to just take this, split it out from there maybe? Like, maybe all this UV stuff is no good. Like, I don't. Bevels, I get bevels crashing. Like, I understand that. That's like a crash Houdini doing it, but this is. So these have params. I could just legit duplicate this. Maybe Booleans, feeding a Boolean to this as a collection is not good. Like, so what does this make? This makes the same shape. What if I strip this out? Because now we're just crashing, like, for no reason. Like, what if that's the collision? The normals still look good on it, I think. What if that's the collision and we split it off that way? That's fine. Material's fine. Does it want me to put a material on the collision or something? Like, it shouldn't matter. Am I even gonna try that old HDA or should I reload this? I'm tired of just like crashing that one and it not working. All I did was change the name. Collision Geo UCX01 wall. This is the way. And I'm gonna resave it and reload it because I'm gonna just try this new way. Because it's like just crashing on the bake now. That's not good. It's not where you'd expect it to crash. Is it not open? Am I still... I didn't reopen it. I do not like crashing my main game this much. I feel like eventually one of these is going to corrupt it, and I have to revert back to yesterday. But I didn't really do anything today in Unreal Engine. I have just failed at importing the static mesh for about an hour. Or two. How long has this really been? I've only been live for 2:40, really? Oh, feels longer. I feel like I've been trying to import this for 2 hours. Damn. What a shit place to get stuck. Because I could have made this in Blender in like 10 minutes, probably. But these are the pieces I'm doing this for to be parametric, is like the core pieces so that I don't have to do it manually. But this is like so unstable. I'll keep trying though. So let's do Screenshot Studio. HDA is in there. Gonna give that a delete. I'm gonna delete this HDA and bring it back in. I don't think that's an issue, but I'm gonna do it. Delete that. Okay, so that's definitely the new one. So I'm calculating the... Every time it chugs like this, I'm like... Calculating the collision now from like a separate Boolean. I don't know if that matters. I'm gonna leave those all there. it has identified it as a Boolean, or as a collision, right? Are you going to one crash on the bake? And if not, that feels real bad. Now I'm really kind of stuck. If that's going to crash every single time. RTX was like this in the beginning too. I don't really remember what I did to fix it, but I did something. Anytime I was doing early RTX stuff, it was like, poof, the editor just died every single time. Gotta play with it. I don't really have a way to fix that. That's not anything I'm gonna do, other than start stripping down the HDA. I feel like the whole thing is completely broken now. I'm gonna try to generate the stairs, and then I'm gonna take a break and go eat something. Restart the computer. That's a legit one. Never know. Just restart my computer. I'm gonna generate the stairs mesh. If that crashes, could revert back to Houdini 17. That's also a thing. What version did I make the stairs in? When did I switch to 18? I'm pretty sure I made those tracks yesterday, and that was fine. So we did switch Houdini versions. This is very hard to debug if that's it though. I'm pretty sure I made the tracks yesterday in Houdini and it was fine. But if it can't bake them and it crashes on them, then I can't. I got nothing. I can't do anything. I also cannot do the FBX exporter correctly either. I'm gonna bring in another Houdini thing. I'm just gonna see if this can generate. If it doesn't, then there's just something super wrong with the plugin. Okay, give that a second. There we go. So can you generate, or are you gonna crash too? I feel like it's gonna crash, but let's replace with actors. Yep. Okay. That's gonna call it for today. I'm gonna restart my computer and walk away, and Houdini 18 0.287 and Unreal Engine 4.22.3 not having a lot of fun baking the mesh. It's weird because it was working before and now it's not. I feel like we gotta restart the whole computer, that sort of shit. So that calls it. I'm really happy with the geometry and the UVs and just the whole thing overall. It's like basically Cinema 4D, but I have control enough to do UVs. And materials and other things, all scripty, but the plugin to Unreal Engine, a little bit unstable. Or I'm doing something off, I'm not sure. But that wraps it. I'll be back. I think tomorrow I'm not back, but like Monday. I'd like to release these assets in this update, like this week, definitely. So I'll be back soon. Peace out.